This here is the new K&F Concept BA225 carbon fibre travel tripod. Okay, so before we get into this video, a little disclaimer up front. K&F Concept did ask me if I wanted to review this product, and I obviously said yes to, hence it's in my hand. But this isn't a paid video, it's not a sponsored video or anything like that. They're not seeing this video before it goes live, so this is my true and unbiased opinion about this tripod, which does have pros and it also does have cons as well. And if you are interested in picking one of these up, I will link it in the description down below. And I also have a 10% discount code which you can use on their website to pick one of these up or any of their other products. So if you are watching this review, you are probably interested in getting yourself a small, lightweight travel tripod, and this K&F Concept BA225 is exactly that. I really like the look and design of this tripod. The carbon fibre legs look great, and I really like the dark orange accent colour, which really makes the tripod stand out and look really professional. Even though I might not look very professional being barefoot and rocking my pink flamingo shorts, but we are currently in the middle of a heat wave and it is so unbelievably hot outside, and it is also unbelievably hot in this room as well. I live in the UK, we don't have AC, so this room is about 30 degrees C, which is about 86 Fahrenheit. And I'm sweating up already, and this is the very beginning of the video. So if you see me get progressively hotter and redder throughout this video, that is why it is so hot. Every time I'm like doing between takes, I've got a fan behind me I've got to turn on to cool me down a little bit. But back to the actual tripod. It's ultra lightweight as it's mainly made from carbon fibre, which makes it ideal for travelling. It weighs only 1 kilogram, which is 2.2 pounds, which is crazy lightweight for a tripod. When packed down, it is only 35 centimeters long, which is about 13.8 inches, and it fits inside of this included carry case. And when it's fully extended, it can go all the way up to 153 centimeters. That's about 60 inches high. And it is crazy how a tripod so small can actually get so high. And to get it to its max height, we obviously have to extend the legs fully. Then we can take the center column up, and surprisingly they've managed to squeeze another section in here, so we can take this up again, which gets it to its max height. But being so lightweight does mean that it gets slightly less stable the higher we actually take it. If we look at a shot just extending the legs, we can see there is minimal wobble. But as soon as we fully extend it, we can see that there is a lot more movement in our shots. And this movement isn't really ideal, especially if we're going to be using the tripod outside and there's a little bit of wind around. It could easily wobble your camera, so it's not exactly ideal to extend it fully if we want to be doing long exposure photography or doing a nice long corporate interview or something, because you probably will get some form of moving shot. But to help reduce that wobble, there is a hook at the bottom of the center column which we can weigh the tripod down with, which does help a little, but that center column still is a little bit wobbly. And if that center column is all the way up, it can be quite tricky to get to the hook, as the camera bag just seems to hit the actual legs of the tripod. So I found it easier to use the strap of the bag. But again, we have to make sure whatever we use to weigh that tripod down is not swinging, as this will obviously add a wobble to the tripod. So for me personally, I probably wouldn't use this tripod at its max height in certain conditions, especially if I'm outside and it's rather windy. You're always going to get some form of kind of wobbly shot. It's a lot better if we don't extend that center column. The tripod is a lot more stable. But in other situations, for instance, if you're inside or if it's perfectly still weather outside and there's no wind, then I don't really see there's any harm actually getting the tripod up and using it for photography or for filmmaking. And again, it's quite amazing that a tripod so small can actually get so high. And we can actually do the opposite as well and set up the camera super low. If we undo the hook at the bottom of the center column and reinsert it up the other way, we can get the camera super low to the ground. And yes, it is a bit of a pain using the camera this way, as it's obviously upside down. So having a flip out screen will definitely make it easier to get the shot. But again, it's great that this tripod allows us to do that. So when we're out and about and we want to be more creative with our shots, that this tripod allows us to actually get the camera really high or also get the camera really low. Other tripods might just limit us having the camera on top of it, where this tripod allows us to do, a super high shot or also a super low shot. But that is not the only trick that this tripod has up its sleeve. We can also unscrew the leg with the foam on it and unscrew the ball head and attach both together so we can get a small monopod. I know we probably wouldn't ever use it like this, but we could also put a GoPro on the end of it to get some really cool and unique shots. Or we can take that whole center column out and attach these two together to get an even bigger monopod. And now we've hit a very awkward part of this review. Whilst I was out filming some cutaway shots of this tripod, I captured something on camera, and that was when I was testing out that big monopod section of this tripod. Basically, this happened. And as you can imagine, I could not believe this happened and that I actually captured it on camera. And luckily I was actually filming this section on grass and the camera hit the ground but didn't break. But if I was on concrete, I think that would have completely destroyed my camera. And at the time I thought maybe I did something wrong, maybe I didn't screw it in tight enough, maybe I left something loose and that's why it did that. But no, it wasn't actually me. The bottom of the center column is made of plastic and the top of the leg is actually metal. And when screwed together, the plastic is so cheap and flimsy that the metal thread just pulled straight through. I have no idea why they used such cheap soft plastic here and didn't use metal for both bits to stop this from happening. So because that plastic is so cheap and flimsy and the thread just pulled straight through, that now means that I will no longer be able to use that monopod at its full height, because no matter how much you screw it up, that plastic thread is completely trashed, which means they don't connect together anymore. So if you're thinking of getting this tripod, I would recommend to not use that monopod in the tallest configuration. Even if you're literally walking with it through some woods and it's maybe propped on your shoulder, how you might walk with a monopod, that soft bit of plastic could give in at any second and your camera could go flying and smash and break, which you do not want to do. So word of warning, if you get this tripod, don't use the tall monopod section. I mean, they do state that this tripod can withstand up to 8 kilograms, which is 17.5 pounds, which is crazy considering the tripod only weighs 1 kilogram. And again, if your camera and equipment weighs up to 8 kilograms, do not put it on that monopod. What I was using weighs about 2 kilograms, so a quarter of the actual weight it states it can hold, and that happened to mine. So just imagine what it would do if you had 8 kilograms on, and 8 kilograms of camera equipment is going to cost a fortune. So again, don't put it on that monopod. And I don't know if I'm just unlucky with this specific tripod, but again, when I take that center column out and go to reinsert it, there's a really cheap flimsy bit of plastic which just gets in the way and makes it very, very hard to actually reinsert that center column. And that cheap flimsy bit of plastic is actually used to lock that center column in place, so if it ever breaks or falls out, then the tripod becomes useless because I won't actually be able to lock that center column. The bottom of the legs have small plastic feet, and I would have liked if these were rubberized slightly to make them a bit more grippy, as they do slide around a bit on smooth surfaces. And at the top of the legs there is a section where we can attach an accessory, for instance an external monitor, if we wanted to. Also, next to this at the top of the legs we have these push clips, which means we can choose what angle the leg sits at. But this clip is not spring loaded and can just stay in that open position. We have to make sure that we press this clip into the locked position, because we could easily think that it is locked in place when it is not, and when we put the camera on top, the leg could easily slip open as the clip is not properly locked and potentially fall over. So at a quick glance it is hard to tell if these clips are locked or in the open position. For instance now, this one is in the locked position and this one is in the open position. So if I put a heavy camera on top, this leg could potentially slide open and fall and break, which we obviously don't want. So we have to make sure that every single time that we press these clips in, that they don't actually slide open. If they were spring loaded and they were always in a locked position, I think that would give me a lot more confidence that this tripod isn't just going to potentially fall over. You will also notice that the legs have twist locks to extend them, which I'm in two minds about. We can untwist all of them in one go, but the legs don't fall out, and we have to manually pull them out and then screw each one of these twist locks tight. This might sound a little bit petty, but I want the legs to fully extend when I loosen those twist locks. If we look at my Manfrotto tripod with lever clips, as soon as I unlock them, the legs fully extend, and we can easily see if these clips are locked or unlocked. And again, personally, I find these twist locks quite difficult to know if they are unlocked or locked. There's no indication to actually tell me visually if these are open or closed. I've basically got to go into every single one of them to make sure that they are all locked. Because if I look down and think they're locked and they're not, then the tripod could easily fall over. So I have to basically manually make sure that every single one of these is in the lock position every single time. Compared to the levers on my Manfrotto tripod, we can easily see which are locked and which are not. So I assume they went for these twist locks on the tripod because they are plastic and they are a little bit lighter as well, so the whole weight of the tripod can be kept down. But one thing which I'm glad they didn't make plastic is the ball head of this tripod. The ball head that it comes with is fully metal and is really nice, and the base plate is also metal as well, and an Arca Swiss style plate, which is a decent size and it gives more surface area for a camera to sit on. I also really like the K&F logo, which is rubberized on the base plate, which gives us a bit more grip onto the camera and doesn't seem to work itself loose. A lot of the cheaper, lighter travel style tripods would have just slapped some crap plastic ball head on top of their tripod to keep the price down and also keep it lighter as well. So I'm so pleased that K&F Concept decided to put a metal one on top. Yes, it's probably slightly heavier, but having a metal one on here just makes it feel a lot more solid and a lot more professional as well. On top, we also have a small bubble level, which helps us get a level shot. And the ball head gives us a nice, easy and quick way to move the camera around. The locking screws feel like they clamp the ball tightly and there really isn't any movement within it. Having the cutout section on the side of the ball head means that we can quickly move our camera from landscape into portrait. The head also spins a full 360 degrees as well and has markings on it which would come in handy when we want to take some panoramic photos. So we know exactly how far we need to turn our camera. And we can tell that this tripod and this ball head has basically been designed for photography use. With photography, you just want to get a normal static still shot, so we can basically spin this where we actually want it, get the camera in its correct position, and then get our shot. Which is also okay for some filming shots as well, if we just want to get some static landscape shots or maybe an interview shot or something. But normally with filming, we want to get some panning and tilting shots on a tripod, which is quite difficult to do on a ball head style tripod like this. Because as a ball head, we don't actually have a handle, which is normally used to easily get some panning and tilting shots with our camera. Sure, we can just hold the camera and get some panning shots left to right, but being a ball head means that we can't tilt the camera smoothly and it just flops around. So yes, panning shots are okay on this tripod, they are still a little bit wobbly, but as soon as we want to actually tilt the camera, we have to loosen that ball head. The camera is just going to be flopping around, so we're not going to be able to get really any smooth kind of panning and tilting shots when filming. So overall, there's a lot of pros and there's also a lot of cons as well. It's currently on offer for £77 at the moment, and I also have a discount code in the description down below. But buying this tripod, you've got to basically compromise somewhere. It's so light, so small, perfect for traveling, for instance, and it's kind of only used for photography, not for filming. And there's also all of the negatives as well, the cheap plastic bits, a little bit flimsy. I'm not a great fan of those twist locks or the locks on top of those legs, but you know, other tripods which are a similar size and weight are going to cost you hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds. So for the price is quite good, but you've also got to compromise that they're also kind of cheap kind of workarounds which they've done on this tripod as well. I think I will continue using this tripod in certain situations. For instance, if I'm traveling, going trekking, and I need it to be super light and super small to fit into a suitcase or something, then I do feel like those kind of quirks, I will ignore those and just use it for what it is. But for everyday use, then I would probably recommend something a little bit bigger, a little bit more heavy duty without those kind of quirks. And K&F Concept do actually do a kind of bigger version of this tripod, which I would love to actually review as well. It's got a funny name, so I've had to write it down. It's called a SA254T1 tripod, which is their bigger brother of this one. So K&F, if you are listening, I would also love to check out that bigger heavy duty tripod as well. But anyway, that's enough from me today. I really hope you found this video interesting and informative. If you have, please give it a big fat thumbs up, as it really does help out. And why not let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this tripod from K&F. Would you consider actually buying one of these? Consider I've now kind of shown you the pros and the cons of this tripod. And if you're not already, please hit that subscribe button to follow my next reviews, as I've got a whole load more coming very, very soon. And I'm about to go jump into an ice bath because I'm literally like sweating in here. So until next time, keep on creating.